When you think of iconic cartoon characters, you may think of Mickey Mouse or Homer Simpson, for example. But I believe that Spongebob Squarepants is one of the most iconic cartoon characters of all time. Everybody, everywhere, knows who SpongeBob is. SpongeBob has been on the air now for over 25 years, with new episodes still being made. But like with any show, SpongeBob has some dark history to it. After many years, we've realised that there lies a deeper, stranger world, one that fans have spent years unravelling. In today's video, we're going to be diving into the Spongebob Iceberg, a layered look at theories, lost media, and hidden lore that exists in Bikini Bottom. This iceberg is kind of made by me, but not at the same time. I have taken a lot of examples from other icebergs that I've seen based on the show, and I've picked the best entries that I think would be good for this video, just to make it a little bit different. So without further ado, let's not waste any time, and let's dive into Tier 1. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie is the first movie based off the TV series. Created by Steven Hillenburg and released in 2004, I remember seeing this movie in cinema when I was like 4 years old, and it's one of my earliest memories. The film follows SpongeBob and Patrick on an adventure to try and retrieve King Neptune's stolen crown and save Mr. Krabs from a wrongful execution. SpongeBob is upset when he gets passed over for the general manager position at the new Krusty Krab 2 restaurant. But when Plankton steals King Neptune's crown and frames Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob and Patrick have to go to Shell City to recover the crown. Along the way, they face some insane sea creatures and even a hitman named Dennis. The whole moral of this movie kind of based on SpongeBob being a kid and proving himself that being a kid doesn't make him any less heroic. The movie features some of the best music in a kids movie. There is songs on this film by Ween, Flaming Lips, and even Motorhead that appear throughout. Another few movies were released for SpongeBob after this, but damn, this is easily the best one for me. It is a classic film. Not just the best SpongeBob movie, but I think it's up there as one of the best animated movies of all time. I absolutely love this film. In the 2000s, there was a huge bunch of licensed games that were released. Some of them were brilliant, others not so good. SpongeBob was no stranger to licensed games, so I want to talk about some of the best ones that I enjoyed growing up. Now, the SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom is often referred to as the best SpongeBob game. The game is a cult classic, featuring SpongeBob, Patrick and Sandy as playable characters, on a mission to stop Plankton, who has unleashed an army of evil robots upon Bikini Bottom. Now, each character that you can play as has unique abilities. SpongeBob uses a bubble wand, Sandy swings with a lasso, and Patrick can just throw stuff everywhere. Now, despite the game's reviews that were a bit mixed at launch, it did develop a strong cult-like following over time. The game has so much funny humour, the voice acting, and of course the entire thing is faithful of Bikini Bottom. The recreation is great. And in 2020, its popularity led to a full remake titled Battle of Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, which just kind of makes the game look a bit better. And I absolutely loved this one too. I thought this remake was really fun to play. SpongeBob SquarePants Lights Camera Pants was released in 2005 and I played it on the PS2. Now, this game is pretty much just SpongeBob's answer to Mario Party. It's set around a fictional talent show in Bikini Bottom. Players must compete in mini-games to earn roles for the new TV show. Now, the console versions of this support multiplayer, which means people can just play it over and over and over again since there is no real story. Now, people were a little bit mixed on this game. People said the games were kind of hit or miss in quality, but it kind of fit with the Mario Party aesthetic, which it definitely resonated with among family players and younger players. It was very commercial and it aimed more for the, I guess you could say, casual gaming audience. SpongeBob SquarePants, the creature of the Krusty Krab. This was a really strange, surreal departure from the other games. The game explored the dream worlds of SpongeBob, Patrick and Plankton. It features a lot of varied gameplay. There is flying levels, racing sequences and platform challenges. Now, growing up, I played this game a lot. I played it on the PS2, which I know that version was much better. Critics really did criticise the game when it came to the controls, especially on the Wii. Which, I mean, there was a lot of awkward controls on the Wii looking back at it with games like this. But I enjoyed this one, it was something different from what we'd already seen. Now, my personal favourite, which could be classed as, I guess, a controversial opinion, but Revenge of the Flying Dutchman is definitely my favourite SpongeBob game. Now, this game was released in 2002 for the PS2, Nintendo GameCube, and the Game Boy, which each version offered a unique experience. The whole story of this game is SpongeBob accidentally releases the Flying Dutchman from a magic bottle he finds buried in the backyard. Now, the Flying Dutchman is furious at this for being awoke, and the Dutchman threatens to recruit SpongeBob into his ghostly crew. Now, to avoid this fate, SpongeBob must go on a quest to find the Dutchman's lost treasure, which is scattered across Bikini Bottom and beyond. Now, most of the game is kind of rinse and repeat. You do the same thing but in different areas from around the show, like Jellyfish Fields, downtown Bikini Bottom, the Goo Lagoon, just to name a few. There is a lot to do in this game. There is a lot of puzzles that need to be solved, such as all the letters that you need to collect to spell SpongeBob. There's also a lot of doubloons and other collectibles. SpongeBob can change costume and give him special abilities, which he has karate gear, Mermaid Man, and the jellyfishing net, which that music still just burned into my memory on repeat. The game didn't do too well when it came to criticism. It was very much criticised for being clunky, and many players just encountered loads of breaking bugs on this, which made the game very difficult to play. Especially as you go from room to room, there's usually a loading screen, which on the PS2 version, I got a lot of just anger from this game when I remember it freezing between different rooms. But Revenge of the Flying Dutchman holds a really big nostalgic part for me. It definitely set an example for what SpongeBob games were going to become in the future. The game had original voice actors too, so it was really good for the time. Yeah, maybe it's aged terribly, but it's my favourite SpongeBob game. Now, my leg is one of the most iconic running gags in SpongeBob. Now, the phrase is shouted by the character Fred, who is a recurring background fish. We usually hear him say this when he's in scenes of chaos or destruction. Every time something explodes or crashes or just general mayhem, you can count on Fred screaming "my leg" in the background. Now, as far as I'm aware, the first appearance was in season 1 in the episode Burton School. The character was voiced by Doug Lawrence, who of course voices Plankton and even Filbert from Rocko's Modern Life. Now, over time it became a meme and a fan favourite, and it was referenced across many episodes, to the point where in season 11, an entire episode dedicated to Fred and his leg was released, which kind of just killed the joke at that point. Now, Fred has become a cultural character despite him not really ever being a main focus of any episodes, and my leg has appeared in over 40 episodes, and there is a lot of merchandise based on this phrase, so it was funny, but then they kind of killed it themselves. Now, when the series creator Stephen Hillenburg was developing the show in the late 1990s, he initially wanted to name the main character Spongeboy, for the original name of the show, Spongeboy Ahoy. Now, the name Spongebob was already taken for a mop product, which meant Nickelodeon and Hillenburg couldn't legally use it, so to avoid legal trouble, they had to brainstorm a new idea, which of course became SpongeBob. And over time, many people believe this, but that's not where the story ends. Now, the YouTube channel Kids Leave Stoop, after much research, found out that this mop never even existed. I'd really recommend that you check out this guy's video because he just dives into so much detail, it's really well researched, but it's kind of crazy that this was just a myth the whole time. Nicktoons Summer Splash was a special seasoning programming block that aired on Nickelodeon during the summer months from 2000 to 2004. Now, it served as a showcase for the network's popular animated shows at the time, which was of course all based around the beach theme setting. Now, this was one of the coolest things I remember as a kid because it often showed characters interacting with one another at the beach, pool, or summer party. Characters from various shows appeared together, sometimes breaking the fourth wall. The segments were used to introduce next episode and include gags or bumpers. Now, Nickelodeon Summer Splash aired episodes from some of Nickelodeon's biggest animated shows at the time, like SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, and Rugrats. In the early years, Nick personalities or cartoon characters would host the block, but by 2003 and 2004, SpongeBob and Patrick became the main host. The bumpers ended in 2004, but Nicktoons Summer Splash is really well remembered by many kids as a key part of their summer TV memories. It's really nostalgic for me too. I always tune in back to those episodes and those bumpers because there's just something special about it that you don't really see anymore. In the episode Neptune's Spatula, we're introduced to King Neptune, who is a stereotypical Greek god-like personality. He has huge muscles, a beard, and flowing long hair, like me obviously. His design really leaned into the idea of Neptune being a god of the sea. But something changed. In the 2004 SpongeBob movie, King Neptune looks significantly different. No longer does he look like a god, and well, he's... This version of Neptune looks way more friendly looking and cartoon-like in style. Now the reason for this redesign was due to a firewall between Nickelodeon and Paramount content at the time. This resulted in other elements created for the first movie not being allowed to be used in the series from 2005 to 2014. Now after the firewall was lifted, King Neptune's crown from the 2004 movie made an appearance in the episode Lost and Found, and also in Insecurity Guards. I do think the movie version of King Neptune is much more marketable, like I can see a plushie being made of this compared to the original. Either way, I feel like they both have their charm, and it makes sense why the design was changed. Bubble Bass is a bass fish who appears in the episode Pickles. Now, Bubble Bass is just a huge dick. He humiliates SpongeBob by accusing him of forgetting the pickles on his Krabby Patty. This sends SpongeBob into a spiral of self-doubt, and at the end, it's revealed that Bubble Bass just hid the pickles under his tongue the whole time. He was just being a dick to be a dick. Bubble Bass didn't really appear much after that. We saw him in episodes like Fun, but not really anything else. Until recently, Bubble Bass is a regular featured character in episodes per season 8. He even appears in the spin-off of this show, which, speaking of a spin-off,
this is the Bikini Bottom News Special Report. We believe you are not subscribed to the Moth channel. Do it now before it's too late.
Now, Camp Coral, also known as SpongeBob's Underyears, is a 3D prequel to SpongeBob. It follows a 10-year-old SpongeBob and his friends as they attend the summer sleepaway camp, but as children. Now, I try not to get too annoyed about this, but it does kind of just go against the entire lore that's already been established, as we see SpongeBob meet Sandy previously, so why are they together as kids? Like, it's nitpicky, I know, but it is kind of annoying. Now, the show, of course, is set at the underwater campgrounds of Camp Coral. The show features a lot of the same characters such as Patrick, Sandy and Squidward, but as children. They go around like exploring nature, building jellyfish nets, and just doing stuff in over-the-top situations. Now the series is very different as it uses vibrant CGI instead of traditional 2D animation, which gives it a completely fresh feel, I will admit. Though the show doesn't feel as insane and crazy like the show did before. Now the show premiered in 2021 and ended in 2024. I have seen a few episodes, but I wasn't a fan. I couldn't get behind the CGI style of animation for a SpongeBob show. But if you enjoy it, awesome, go for it. Just One Bite is a classic SpongeBob episode from season 3. In this episode, SpongeBob tries to get Squidward to eat a Krabby Patty, and Squidward falls in love with the taste and becomes obsessed with Krabby Patties. This episode also gave us this classic meme. The original airing of this episode, it happened during the Totally Twisted telly event, which was a programming block that aired SpongeBob, Invader Zim and the Fairly Odd Parents in the fall of 2001 between 8 PM and 10 PM. This episode originally contained a scene where Squidward gets injured twice by a security system in the Krusty Krab that Mr. Krabs had installed to keep anyone from stealing the formula and entering the restaurant at night. This security system consisted of a bucket of gasoline that Squidward mistakes for a bucket of water, which is then spilled onto the floor before being set on fire by a gigantic robotic hand dropping a lit match, which causes an explosion. It's a very Looney Tunes slapstick gag style of comedy. But this scene was actually cut from future airings of the episode. Now the explanation for the removal was initially thought to be out of just respect for the victims of the September 11th attacks, which occurred less than a month before the episode had aired. Or it was to prevent children trying to ignite gasoline. Now, Jay Lender, one of the writers for the episode, told SpongeBuddy Mania in 2007 that while the unedited version of the episode initially went through every single Nickelodeon approval, but the September 11th attacks were a huge factor in the subsequent decision to remove the scene, along with Nickelodeon standard and practice issues. The Mollusk is the 6th album by the band Ween. The album was released in 1997, and The Mollusk was a direct influence for Steven Hillenburg. Hillenburg contacted the band shortly after the album's release, and he requested a song, which later became Loop the Loop.
You make a loop-de-loop and close, and your shoes are looking cool. You go over and back, left to right.
The track Ocean Man is also played during the end credits of the Spongebob Squarepants movie. I absolutely loved this album. It could be possibly in my top 3 favourites of all time. I have it on vinyl too. I don't know why I needed to mention that other than it's cool, but if you haven't heard that album, go listen to it. It is so good. The Squidward dab was a Vine video of an amusement park employee doing the dab while costumed like Squidward at Universal Studios in Orlando back in 2016. When the video entered online circulation through Vine, it quickly went viral and spread to other social networking sites like Tumblr, Twitter, and Instagram. Nickelodeon actually acknowledged this meme in merchandise. Now, something interesting about this, the performers of the Squidward outfit are actually banned and they're not allowed to perform the dab anymore, which is probably for the best since this was nearly 10 years ago. The SpongeBob pilot was the original pitch to Nickelodeon. The episode of course is Help Wanted, but other variations have been found with different intros and designs. The recording script for the episode was completed on May 12, 1997, and the final storyboard was also completed in that year. The final master of the pilot was delivered to Nickelodeon Studios back in 1999. Despite being completed in 1997, the pilot would not air of course until 1999. During which the pilot was slightly altered into its final form, and during its broadcast Help Wanted was viewed in over 2 million households and received positive critical reviews, which effectively launched the franchise into a global phenomenon. Shanghai is a classic episode from season 2, a full 22-minute episode, instead of an A episode and a B episode, which run 11 minutes each. Shanghai originally aired as a television special on Nickelodeon back in 2001, and it featured a poll where viewers can vote on the outcome of the episode. Now, subsequent broadcasts have shown a revised version, which removes references to voting. But what's really interesting about this episode is there is alternate endings for each one of the 3 characters on board the ship. SpongeBob, Patrick, and of course Squidward. So the first ending, depicted by the Flying Dutchman, is giving the wish to Patrick. Now, understanding the stakes, SpongeBob and Squidward urge Patrick to be thoughtful with his wish. Patrick struggles to think of one because Patrick is dumb obviously, and once he finally figures it out, he makes his wish silently, which Patrick reveals that he wished for gum and offers some to his friend. His companions each accept the gum and their fate before the Dutchman just eats the trio. Squidward's wish was the second losing ending, and it wasn't any better than Patrick. Instead of being wise with the wish, Squidward decides to be petty, and he wishes that he never met SpongeBob and Patrick, and the Dutchman grants it. The wish makes the sea sponge and starfish lose their memories of their neighbour. Squidward objects, but the Flying Dutchman remarks that it's time for dinner. As an ending concludes, the trio converse inside the ghost pirate's stomach, so once again they are eaten. Now by default, the winning ending was SpongeBob's wish, establishing it as the permanent conclusion. The Flying Dutchman picks SpongeBob, and Squidward urges his neighbour to save them. SpongeBob wishes for the Dutchman to be a vegetarian, saving them from their doom. Afterward, the trio is suddenly teleported into a blender and transformed into fruit. They realise the Dutchman pulled a fast one on them and still plans to eat them, and the 3 neighbours attempt to escape, but the Dutchman pursues them. I really like how there's 3 different endings and you've got to vote. That's something so cool that is unfortunately lost with today's television. I don't think they could pull this off anymore. It is still really cool to look back and see this, and I love the other 2 endings as well. The SpongeBob Plug and Play is a core childhood memory for me. Released in 2003 by Jax, the Plug and Play box was shaped like SpongeBob's head, with the joystick being SpongeBob's nose. Now, the Plug and Play did feature many mini-games to play, such as SpongeBob's Bubble Pop, which was like a huge mysterious bubbles are surrounding Bikini Bottom and blocking all the exits to the city. And SpongeBob has to take it upon himself to burst every bubble in the city. It also had Sandy's surf adventure, which a giant bullworm and its henchmen were terrorising Bikini Bottom, and Sandy has to decide to repel their attack on her own and save Bikini Bottom. Now my personal favourite was the invasion of the hooks, which was just a little minigame of you trying to keep the hooks at bay and stop attacking people of Bikini Bottom. It was simple, but it was fun. It also had Patrick and the maze, which you have to obviously help Patrick get out of the coral maze, and the Super Chum Bucket, which Plankton used his remote control robots to capture Sandy and bribe SpongeBob into giving him a Krabby Patty recipe. But SpongeBob obviously has to rescue Sandy himself and stop Plankton. They're very simple minigames, but it's definitely something that just existed back in the day that really wouldn't work today. A Day with Spongebob Squarepants the movie is an unproduced, unauthorised mockumentary. Now the movie has been postponed, but the producer does plan to make this film through a crowdfunding effort. Now based off what I read on the Lost Media Wiki, in this mockumentary, SpongeBob lives above ground, like all Hollywood superstars, and he's afraid that he's becoming old news, and his boss runs a contest called Spend a Day with SpongeBob. The contest makes SpongeBob talk to the town as thousands of kids enter to win. The lucky winner is revealed to be Seth, and he is ecstatic about his day with SpongeBob. However, the day becomes a rollercoaster ride as things don't go quite as they're expected to. Now, someone was actually able to get in touch with the guy who was supposed to make this movie, and he said that it would be released via crowdfunding, but he also denied that Regal's official website hosted malware, as a lot of people believed it did, since people obviously were paying money to somebody, not entirely sure if they were even going to get it. And as of yet, the crowdfunding effort has not even been launched. Astrology with Squidward is a series of SpongeBob shorts that originally aired from 2000 to 2001. They feature Squidward giving horoscopes for the 6 of the 12 zodiac signs. The shorts aired during different times of the year. Squidward would explain the different parts of the zodiac. The zodiac symbols that are in the shorts are represented by the characters from the show. SpongeBob as Sagittarius, Patrick as Taurus are redesigned to look like the symbols. Nickelodeon stopped airing the shorts on their main network in 2001, but they also appeared in 2002 and continued to air until 2005, though it was later confirmed that 6 shorts already found in English were the only ones that existed. There was a lot of rumours that the other zodiac signs that weren't covered, like Libra, which is mine, which I didn't get my own short, which I'm still pissed about. People believed that it existed, but the only evidence that was provided was an anonymous Wikipedia page. A lot of people believe that there is obviously another 6 shorts, because why would they only make half? But it has been confirmed that that was all it was. The 6 shorts were never made, and only 6 that exist are the ones that you can see on YouTube. Ah yes, Red Mist, also known as Squidward's. This story is a creepypasta made by a fan, and it is told from the perspective of a person who was at Nickelodeon Studios in 2005. The whole point of this story is the students find a tape titled Squidward's, and they assume that it's just an office prank, which when they get home and they put on this mysterious tape, they find that it's extremely dark. All the characters have hyper-realistic red eyes, which then shows Squidward sitting in his bedroom. The scene is then spliced with quick cuts of disturbing photos, taken by what's presumably a fake murderer. The short then ends of course with Squidward picking up a gun, and yeah, you get the point. It's such an old classic story, it just feels funny by today's standards. Now, the circulated image of Red-Eye Squidward was associated with this creepypasta was actually referenced in the series. In the episode SpongeBob in Random Land, there was an actual scene which featured Red Mist Squidward. Now, the series reference was to make fun of the try-hard, edgy fanfiction, and Vincent Waller said that he only referenced this creepypasta to make fun of the ridiculous fanfiction. He also clarified that this was obviously just a reference, and that the Red Mist character is definitely not canon. Red Mist is a classic 2000s creepypasta, there's nothing more to it than that. It's cool, I guess, back when you're a kid and you don't know if it's real or not, but when you look back at it as an adult, it's pretty bad. The 7 Deadly Sins theory is a theory that multiple SpongeBob characters are based off the 7 deadly sins, such as pride being Sandy, greed being Mr. Krabs, lust being Pearl, envy as Plankton, gluttony as Bubble Bass for some reason, with wrath and sloth being Squidward and Patrick. Now, it seems like a good theory at first, until you see many people trying to prove this theory, and every single sin is just a different character and there's nothing really consistent about it. A lot of people have just put different characters under each sin, proving that it's just a complete hoax and simply just not true. Although it is very cool to think of, but it's definitely not true. It reminds me of that Winnie the Pooh conspiracy theory that they're all based off mental illnesses, which I believe that is also not true. David Bowie is one of the greatest musicians of all time, and I'm a fan of a lot of Bowie's work. And Bowie even featured in Spongebob. He provided the voice of Lord Royal Highness in the episode Atlantis Squarepantis, which is my wife's favourite episode, by the way. His song No Control from his 1995 album Outside, which he wrote with Brian Eno, was used with his permission before his death for the Spongebob musical. Nickelodeon also later used other Bowie song Starman to promote the Patrick Star Show. One of the best musicians featuring in Spongebob, rest in peace legend. Squidward Community College is a meme based off this image. I researched to find this meme's location and well, it turns out to be in LA somewhere. But I'm not sure of anything else about this meme or if it even exists. But there is plenty of fake commercials online, and you can even sign up yourself to Squidward Community College, which is a complete waste of time. I don't see why you would. Oops. Bikini Atoll is a small atoll in the Marshall Islands in the Central Pacific Ocean. It is best known for being the site of the nuclear weapon testing by the United States after World War II. Now, a well-known theory has come from this that Bikini Bottom is actually based off this location, and the residents of the city are in fact due to nuclear radiation. That's why so many of them can speak like humans, and it would explain why so many of them look terrifying down in rock bottom too. This theory has been just spread around for years, and as of 2025, there is still no evidence to confirm it. I Was a Teenage Gary is an episode from season 1. Now the whole premise of the episode is that Gary is sick, so SpongeBob is given medicine to cure Gary, but Squidward accidentally injects SpongeBob with the medicine, and throughout the episode we see SpongeBob's transformation into a snail, with Squidward following shortly after. There was a rumour that in the original airing there was a scene that showed Squidward's transformation into a snail. Now this has since been proven false as of June 12, 2016, confirmed by a YouTube user named 90s Give Me Goosebumps, who actually had a tape of the original airing of the episode. It even has a clip of All That cast member Laurie Beth Denberg introducing the episode as brand new. In addition, Vincent Waller said on Twitter that the so-called deleted scene was never even drawn in the storyboard of the episode. Lost in Time is a Spongebob Squarepants DVD that was released back on February 21st, 2006, and contains 6 episodes from Season 4. The DVD is based on the episode Dungeons and Dragons. The DVD features episodes such as Dungeons and Dragons, Selling Out, Funny Pants, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 6, and Patrick Smartpants. The DVD featured some playable games in the special features, which was pretty cool, but I have no idea why this was featured on so many different icebergs. As far as I'm aware, it's just a DVD and a DVD commercial. If anyone knows why this is so heavily featured on icebergs, let me know in the comments down below. The Intertidal Zone is an unpublished educational comic book written and illustrated by Steven Hillenberg back in 1984. He created it to teach his students about tide pool animals while he was working as a teacher at the Ocean Institute. The book is co-hosted by 2 sea creatures, a shrimp named Rocky and Bob the Sponge, which is of course a very early version of SpongeBob. Each issue featured ocean facts and illustrations of tide pool creatures. Starfish, snails, scallops and anemones were some of the sea creatures that appeared in the comic. The comic was considered lost media for several years, until the 21st of April 2024, when it was revealed by the artist Chris McCord on his Twitter account that he had got it from his friend. A few days later, on the 24th of April, he published the entire comic for viewing on the Internet Archive. SpongeBob Skin Theory is the name for many instances of characters in the early seasons of SpongeBob being seen wearing and removing suits and false body parts, and how it's considered normal in Bikini Bottom. There are so many examples of this happening throughout the show. It's a theory that goes on for a while and it's insanely deep, but a YouTuber named Duck Woofler, I think that's how you pronounce his name, he made a video that's insanely detailed and explains the theory way better than I ever could, so link in the description. AI SpongeBob was a popular trend in recent years. Many live streams on YouTube and TikTok would feature character models from the series communicating all by AI, in an attempt to create an episode. It was pretty pointless, nothing more than just 3D models spewing garbage at one another in the typical AI slop fashion. There was also, I believe, a Family Guy one as well, where they were trying to make Family Guy episodes using just AI. It was pointless, nothing ever worked, and yeah, we all forgot about it. LEGO SpongeBob parodies have been around for years. Many of us grew up watching these on YouTube, mainly by the channel Crazy Film 1121 and Trophy Fish Animations. They are simple stop motion animation videos using SpongeBob Lego. They can be original stories or they replicate an already existing plot. It is a huge nostalgia zone for many of us who grew up watching so many LEGO parodies online. In the episode House Fancy from Season 6, it features a very infamous moment. In the episode, Squidward tries to outdo his rival Squilliam by showing off his house. Now during an attempt to move the couch, his toenail gets caught underneath it, and SpongeBob tries to help by dragging the couch forward, which pulls Squidward's toenail clean off, in a close-up gruesome shot. It's so unnecessarily gory, but not gonna lie, it is just funny as hell to rewatch, like it's not that deep. Video Mods is an animated television series that aired on MTV2, which made music videos for existing songs featuring video game characters and assets. It is a classic mid-2000s style of concept, but a SpongeBob model was featured dancing to the track of All the Small Things by Blink-182. The footage was lost media for a long time, until it was uploaded to YouTube around 3 years ago. It is a cool little time capsule that really gets the spirit of MTV's creativity. Go give it a watch, it's pretty cool. Floorboard Harry was a character cut from the episode Graveyard Shift. He is a piece of floorboard with an eye and thin arms and legs. He would have played the role of the character that took his place, Nosferatu, who was responsible for turning on and off the lights in the Krusty Krab. Now, the Nautical Nonsense and Sponge Buddies DVD features Jay Lender discussing the concepts for the character and explains why they went with Nosferatu instead, which we can all agree was a much better decision. SpongeBob Hemp Pants is a stoner comedy based on SpongeBob. The characters are given parody names based off typical drugs, and have been given much different personalities. The series got very popular on YouTube, and the creator has been known to create other types of parodies for SpongeBob. The show features characters like SpongeBob Hemp Pants, Hashbrick Star, Spliffwood, and Mr. Crack. Only 3 episodes unfortunately exist of this, which are the pilot, another Hashbrick in the Wall, and Crystal Meth. It is a really stupid stoner comedy show that's like, it's just so pointless, but it's so creative and funny. Like, I would definitely recommend this. It is a good laugh, and it's definitely, like I said earlier, a time capsule to early YouTube, because SpongeBob parodies were everywhere in the 2000s, a little bit like this one. SpongeBob Squarepants in China is a video series by the comedy group Boom Chicago. The video first released in 2007 and went viral, and encouraged Chicago to create a follow-up 5 years later titled SpongeBob Squarepants in China 2. The Boom Chicago site advertises it as the biggest YouTube comedy video from the Netherlands, with over 80 million views. Now, the plot of this is basically just a satirical take on life in China, with references to the strict living conditions of the country and lack of freedom of speech. It is funny, it is dumb, it is great. Similar to SpongeBob Hemp Pants, it's just a silly parody, but it has a lot of nostalgia for people who saw it, especially considering that it's 18 years old now. That makes me feel ancient. The SpongeBob Squarepants Burger King inflatable was a giant inflatable created in 2004 by the company Inflatable Images for the Burger King's promotion for the SpongeBob Squarepants movie. These inflatables are infamous due to how commonly they were being stolen off Burger King building, and this has become one of the most infamous promotional Burger King stunts due to its history. Now, on November 11th, 2004, when the SpongeBob movie promotion started at Burger King, around 4,700 locations in the United States put up a gigantic 9-foot inflatable of SpongeBob. Now, at first, everything seemed to be going fine, until about a month into the promotion, when several Burger King locations started to report that their SpongeBob inflatables were missing. This started the phenomenon known as sponge nappings. This resulted in people who had supposedly stolen these inflatables to try and sell them on eBay for a large amount of money, or to essentially leave ransom notes. Several news outlets and Burger King locations around the United States said that if anyone had found their inflatable SpongeBob somewhere, or know potentially where they were or who stole them, they would give that person burger bucks, which was for a year's supply of Whopper sandwiches. I tell you what, if I knew somebody who had stolen one, I would be grassing on them so quick. I'm gonna get that year's supply of Whoppers, man. The inflatables were found in the strangest of places. These locations included apartment complexes, the middle of the woods, and even house fires. All of the formerly stolen SpongeBob inflatables were either given back to a Burger King location, or were too damaged beyond repair. Now, it is an absolutely crazy situation, but it's hilarious. I would love a SpongeBob on top of my house, so I would probably steal one too. During the SpongeBob movie from 2004, we get a cameo from Baywatch's David Hasselhoff, who offers to help SpongeBob and Patrick return to Bikini Bottom. We see the Hoff turn into a human boat that speeds across the ocean. Now, for obvious reasons, to film the scenes on board of Hasselhoff, the movie then made this giant 13-foot David Hasselhoff model that is absolutely terrifying. Now, believe it or not, the Hoff himself earned this giant Dave after the movie was over. But Dave said the prop freaked him out, and in 2021 the prop went up for auction for $1 million. But currently the top bid is $100,000. I have no idea why you would want this piece of nightmare fuel, but hey, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Now, this entry is hilarious. The Russian military is controversial to say the least, but during training, the Russian military has used the theme song for SpongeBob during matches. It turns out the theme song for the show actually has a really good rhythm for the soldiers to march to. Who'd have thought of that? Square Butts is an ad for the restaurant chain for Burger King. Once again, we're talking about Burger King. Originally, this commercial aired in 2009 to promote the Burger King Kids Meal featuring SpongeBob. Now, the commercial, which parodies Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot, gained a lot of controversy from parents, as they deemed it for being way too sexual for the targeted SpongeBob audience. Burger King responded to the controversy and claimed that the advert was actually targeted for adults. Either way, this commercial is just 100% cursed. I have no idea who greenlit this thing, but yep, it is something that exists, so if you want to search for it, go for it, enjoy yourself. Back in 2002, a rumour began online. Now, the rumour claimed that SpongeBob was being cancelled, and the reason for this was a young child thought that she saw a pineapple in the water and decided to jump off a boat to find SpongeBob and drowned. But this is just a classic bullshit story that was completely made up. I have no idea why back in the day there was just so many examples of shows just being blamed for injuries and deaths of children instead of blaming the irresponsible parents. But this was a complete hoax, it didn't happen, nobody died trying to find SpongeBob. Encino is a neighborhood in the San Fernando Valley region of Los Angeles, California. It is famous due to being the home of Patchy the Pirate. Most of the live action segments involving Patchy are filmed somewhere around this location, which, fun fact, the Hoff also lived here at some point too. Who'd have thought we'd go full circle in this tier? The Patchy segments are some of my favourite segments on SpongeBob. I like it when they mix the live action in with the animation on this show, especially that scene where Neptune opens up the curtain and sees Tom Kenny in the shower. I think it's just really funny and adds a different layer to the show. SpongeBob in Tehran is a bootleg SpongeBob parody that exists without the permission of Nickelodeon. The plot features SpongeBob and Patrick visiting Iran. Now, this is crazy that this actually exists. The animation looks like a fever dream or an early PS1 game. There's a few of these strange Middle Eastern parodies of cartoons. I believe there's one of The Simpsons that is completely unlicensed and just kind of exists in the Middle East somewhere. It is really worth the watch. It is a funny piece of media that's worth checking out if you find foreign bootlegs to be entertaining and funny. SpongeBob Slendypants is the name of a Slender-style horror game, where you have to collect all Krabby Patties before SpongeBob gets you. The game starts in the middle of a big forest map, where you have to find 8 or more Krabby Patties without getting killed by Slenderpants. If you look at Slenderpants for a certain amount of time, you will get an image showing up a close face of Slendypants. It is terrible, this game, but it is hilarious. It is a typical mid-2010s Slender parody because for some reason Slender was extremely popular back in the 2010s, and it died a painful death, probably due to that movie. A company called Salterburger, which translates to Crab Burger, was a restaurant that was located in Ramallah, West Bank, Palestine. It was notable for being illegally decorated and marketed as the Krusty Krab restaurant from, of course, SpongeBob. Like I said, it was owned by the Palestinian company Salterburger, and it was opened on the 11th of August 2014. In 2019, it was closed permanently. It's a shame because it's such a good idea, but unfortunately, due to copyright, it probably won't ever be replicated, and it's a funny piece of history nevertheless. Sailor Mouth is a classic episode from Season 2. The plot features SpongeBob and Patrick using curse words, but are censored with dolphin sounds. Now, Tom Kenny has stated that they were told to use substitute words. However, they found it way too difficult when recording, so they had to ask Nickelodeon if they could actually swear, so that they could find it easier to get the flow of the script. Tom Kenny also stated that audio clips of the characters Patrick, SpongeBob, Mr. Krabs and Squidward swearing actually do exist, but they are buried deep in the archives of Nickelodeon. Back in 2021 at LA Comic Con, Roger Bumpus, the voice of Squidward, also confirmed the existence of the uncensored episode. On November 11th, 2023, a voice clip would be posted on the Lost Media Wiki Discord that was supposedly a leak of various Nickelodeon production files. The clip in question is the Eels and Escalators scene, specifically when SpongeBob swears in frustration. The clip was supposedly revealing that SpongeBob actually shouted "blow me." Now, despite the original poster confirming that the line was just edited into the scene, and unfortunately it was not the original raw audio. Also in 2024, with a Q&A of the Art of SpongeBob Discord server, Paul Tibbett revealed that he had at one point earned a VHS copy of the uncensored episode, but it's not sure of the current whereabouts of the tape. God damn it, Paul. The 1999 SpongeBob screensaver was a downloadable computer screensaver from nickelodeon.com. The screensaver is a view of Con Street, with SpongeBob, Patrick, Gary and Squidward appearing in separate intervals throughout the screensaver. Screensavers are such a flashback, man. They don't exist anymore, but I remember back in the day these things were everywhere, and I definitely installed malware on the family computer trying to download a few. Also, before the next entry, I literally went to Burger King today, and then I bought these plushies too. This iceberg is literally taking over my life. The Klasky Csupo incident is actually pretty boring. It's a TV glitch from around 2003 to 2004, which the logo from Klasky Csupo is featured on the screen, despite SpongeBob not being one of their shows. That's it. I mean, I guess when you look back at it, it is kind of weird and kind of funny that a TV station made a mistake like this, but that's it. Why was this on an iceberg list? SpongeBob, as well as Mickey Mouse and Pokemon and Winnie the Pooh, are Western creations that are banned in primetime TV in China. China extended a ban that pretty much locked out all foreign cartoons from airing on TV between 5 PM and 9 PM, which was a bid to protect its domestic cartoon industry. Now, according to the ruling by State Administration of Radio, Film and Television, no foreign cartoons can be shown during the golden hours of Chinese TV. I mean, there's an entire video called Everything Banned in China. I'd recommend you check that out too. It just goes on forever. There's so much stuff that is banned over there. In the SpongeBob movie, SpongeBob and Patrick travel to Shell City, which turns out to be nothing more than a novelty gift shop. During this, we see a pufferfish on display in the shop, and many people have theorized that it's actually Mrs. Puff, which it's not, because like 20 seconds later, the fish regains consciousness, and it's not Mrs. Puff. Hey, maybe it's Mr. Puff, who knows? This entry is just a false rumour, but here we go. The rumour is that SpongeBob was originally pitched to Adult Swim, and the show was targeted at adults, and it explains the reason why, in the early seasons, there's so many adult jokes that are sprinkled throughout the show. There's just one problem with this. We discussed earlier that the pilot episode was created in 1997, and Adult Swim didn't exist until 2001, so yeah, complete nonsense. In the Season 2 episode Survival of the Idiots, SpongeBob and Patrick can be heard arguing over who gets to be a Western outlaw style character titled Dirty Dan. Now, many people have believed that this nickname refers to Dan Schneider, who was a prominent figure in Nickelodeon's history, for creating some of the most beloved Nickelodeon shows like iCarly and, of course, Drake and Josh. But Dan has a much darker side to him. Many people have references to Dan Schneider being just plain creepy and inappropriate behind the scenes of Nickelodeon. The documentary Quiet on Set explores this in more detail. It's not confirmed, but it's a very interesting thought that this could be a dig at the notorious creep. In the episode Road to Rupert, Peter loses his driving license, so Meg becomes Peter's personal driver. During the episode, Meg allows Peter to watch SpongeBob on the TV. Now, the footage isn't actual footage from the show, but the audio definitely is. There's not really much more to this other than it being cool to see Family Guy and SpongeBob kind of existing in the same world. Give it a listen, you can hear the campfire song audio during a Family Guy episode.
You want to watch SpongeBob?
Yes, with apple juice. SpongeBob.
A celebrity death hoax is insanely stupid and pointless. Tom Kenny unfortunately fell victim to this back in 2012, with people saying that he had passed away due to cancer. I remember people genuinely believing that this hoax was real back in the day. It resurfaced back in 2019 when people confused the death of the show's creator Steven Hillenburg for the voice of SpongeBob, which I don't get why people believe this stuff. Just do a little bit of research, folks. It takes just a few seconds. Not everything you read on the internet is real. And that is the end of the iceberg. Thank you to anyone who got this far. I truly appreciate that. This video has taken over a month of my life of researching and writing down and recording and editing, and I'm really proud of how this video has turned out. If you give this video a like, that would be amazing, and a subscribe as well if you're feeling very generous. I promise that there'll be more frequent videos now. This one just took a long time because there was just so many different things to talk about and discuss. Thank you for your patience, it means a lot to me, and yeah, I guess I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching the iceberg.